let's move on with the show now. Talk about fencing in Nigeria. On Tuesday, we spoke to the Director General of the National Sports Commission in Congo, Brazzaville, and he told us that the country could have won about 15 medals if we had entered for fencing. And we started wondering because about 2 weeks ago, we had the president of the Fencing Federation of Nigeria right here with us talking about fencing, a team that we represent Nigeria at the games, and a whole lot more on how to develop the sports. And hearing the DG talk about not knowing anything about fencing was unbelievable.
A rude shock.
So we want to get back to that discussion. I think Inka Samuel is the president of the Nigeria Fencing Federation. He joins us now to, give some clarification on what's really going on with fencing in the country. I think it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
Looking dark.
That's what it is. And I'm wondering, because tomorrow is Friday. You already starting it on a Thursday?
Said he's your makeup guy.
Okay, it's allowed. Okay, I think I just want to really understand what's going on because we spoke to the DG and he made some shocking comments. The first, you got to know that there's a fencing federation in this country, in Congo, about 3 days ago, and then you were here talking so much about fencing. So what's really going on? Is there a disconnect between your federation and the NSC?
First, I'll say I didn't watch the. I wasn't opportune to watch the interview, so I actually missed that. But I think it highlights a few things here, and you've already said it. There's the first thing it highlights is the disconnect between the NOC and the NSC. In our particular situation, I'm not talking about every other sport. I'm just talking about fencing in particular, because we entered. We sent them our list of fences and we followed all the procedures we needed going through the NOC. So it just highlights the disconnect between the two of them in the two organizations there. The other thing he highlights is the prospects, because he said, well, potentially we could have won 15 medals. There were actually 42 medals awarded in fencing, of which Egypt picked 20 medals. Tunisia was second. They got 10 medals, and South Africa was third, and Algeria was fourth. Now, if you look at, as of yesterday, the countries that are above us are these countries. They are Egypt, South Africa, Tunisia, Algeria. Exactly, and if you look at the percentage...
So fencing made a difference for them.
It made a big difference. If you look at it, each one of them, they had roughly about between 11, 12 to 13% of the medals came from fencing, and that's just one sport in 22. So you can see the statistics, and you can see the prospect that was
we lost.
Yeah, and then the other thing he also highlights is that there is also a disconnect between the federation, the Nigerian Fencing Federation, and the sports commission, the NSC, because if the DG heard about it in Congo, then it shows what we're doing internationally for Congo to be aware of the Nigerian Fencing Federation. I mean, it's not like I contacted them before, but it just shows what we've been doing on an international scale and how we've been representing Nigeria as well. So it highlights a few things there, and I think that's where the focus really should be, and why is there a disconnect, and what are the measures to breach that disconnect.
Okay, let me ask you a question, and you get a chance to set the record straight. He said some things, but let me ask you this way. Does your federation have an office? Do you have a secretary? If you do, what's his name? And where is your office?
We don't have a permanent base. We're based in Lekki. In terms of what I mean by we're not in the sports. Yes, we're in Lagos. But we're not in the National Stadium. Yes, we're not in the National Stadium. But our office is in Lekki, 27 Oladimeji Law in Lekki. So there is there. I'm also a member of the NOC, and I attend all the meetings. So they are very well aware of us, and we're obviously very involved in them as well on that aspect. So I think from there we've taken the precautions or the measures that we needed to get the recognition that we needed. But as I highlighted before, a lot of this has been work in progress. I mean, we only got registered or recognized by the NOC last year, 2014.
So in other words, it doesn't really mean that you haven't been pushing, to get the the Sports Commission, that's the NSC, to really know what you're doing. You know, like you said, there's a disconnect somewhere between the NOC and, of course, the NSC, right?
As well as a disconnect between the federation and the NSC. We have been pushing, and I mean, if there are things that we're not doing, then we should be aware of. But I believe we've been doing everything we need to get
the last time you were here, was there any doubt? Were you having doubts about your chances of going? Because you sounded very optimistic, and I didn't get any hints that you guys would be in Congo. So at that point, were you having any reservations?
I mean, what it is, as I said, we done everything we needed in terms of following the procedures and entering our list. I mean, just before the interview, I was advised that fencing was one of the 6 spots, I believe, that were dropped. Okay. At the time, we were still speaking to the NOC, and we said, okay, look, it's important that we go, and we're basically looking at different options on how to still get in there. So at the time, it wasn't confirmed, and we were still optimistic, and we still believed that we were, and we're really pushing hard to go. So up until the team left the day before, I think I was still speaking to the NOC about going.
So what next? What next now for the Fencing Federation? Of course, now that you're not participating in the Africa Games, the Olympics will be coming up in 2016. Where are you going to take it up from there?
The next thing for the Fencing Federation is, I mean, one of the great things that coming here is also to create awareness, and it's to make people aware, and now at least everyone is aware, or most people are aware of the Fencing Federation. So that's the first step, create awareness, and we're trying to do that and expand. We're also in various schools in which we're trying to expand the sport, because we believe it's more of an investment for the future. I mean, if you look at Egypt, they didn't just wake up yesterday to pick up 20 medals at the All-African Games. So it's taking them some time, and they've come. So this is where our focus is. In terms of the Olympics, we didn't qualify for the Olympics. We had our guys at the All-African Championships. That was the qualifications before what is currently being aired. So we missed the opportunity to qualify for the Olympics. So the next thing really is the next Olympics Games, and that's where our focus is and where we're training on. But having said that, there are other competitions coming up. The All-African Games is coming up again, the African Championships, other international competitions are coming up on which we will be representing Nigeria. And
I think I still want you to educate Nigerians on the sports, fencing, particularly if you're taking the sport to the schools. Parents want to wonder, they're going to be holding weapons. Talk to us about some of the equipments used in fencing, and why should I take part in fencing?
It's a great question. We've actually had some displays. Even yesterday we had 2 displays in schools where we were speaking to children as well as parents were there and telling them about fencing. But the 3 weapons, and I use weapon in a very light, tone. In a sportsman way. There's 3 weapons. There's the foil, epi, and saber. Unfortunately, I don't have them here to show you. But the foil, depending on your target area, you can't compete you can't cross compete. So you either compete. What they're currently showing now is epi. The target area for epi is the whole body, from the head to the toes, arms, hands included. The foil, the target area is the torso. And then saber, which is the fastest of all 3 weapons. This is what the soldiers in the olden days would use to guard, the soldiers on the horses would use to guard the king and the queen. The target area is the waist and above, because you're on a horse, so it's only sensible to go for the waist and above. So there's no particular, it's not like you do well in one and then you progress to the other one. It's a choice of weapon. Now, to quickly highlight the benefits, because you said why should you, we target 3 areas. The physical side of it, like every other sport, fencing has the physical benefits. Now, the addition in terms of physical benefits is the balance. It's really good for balance. Coordination, eye-hand feet coordination, which is very important, especially in children. You find that they struggle for that. Now, when you go to the mental aspect of it, fencing is an intelligent sport. It's compared to chess. We all know chess is a very intelligent sport, because it's all about planning, it's all about strategizing. So that's a lot of focus on, and you need to be alert, you need to be quick. It's a really fast sport. Now, the third one is the social aspect of it, because you can mix and mingle with so many people. There, as I said earlier, there are about over 150 fencing federations globally, so you can literally go to any country to fence.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Well, let me quickly throw this in. At what age should one start getting involved? Because I know kids at age 5 start getting chess boards, and parents trying to put them through. So at what stage, now that you're trying to make us feel it's safe, I agree, but at what stage will allow our younger ones to?
That's great. I didn't mention anything about safety, so I'll start off with safety.
Okay.
Fencing is one of the safest sports, not just in terms of injuries.
One of the safest.
It is. It's actually, in terms of statistics as well, is one of the safest sports. Because of the risk involved in fencing, like every other sport, there are risks involved. But in particular, the risk involved in fencing, there are so many precautions and measures that have been put in place to ensure that it's a very safe sport. So, for example, one of the materials that is used in a world-class competition is it's made out of Kevlar, what they're wearing at the moment. So that means you can't penetrate it. Now, the other thing as well is the blade. The risk, where you would have a risk.
It's not a sharp.
It's not sharp. It's very blunt. It's it's very flexible. If it breaks, that's where you have the highest risk. But now, since 2000, blades are designed that it does what's called a clean break. So that at no point will you ever have any sharp or jagged edge. So it's always a clean break. Now, in terms of age, we actually started quite a lot of schools at age of 3. And we introduced the foam. We have the foam, and then we have the plastic, where we just introduce to them till they get that discipline, and then we go into the metal side.
Thank you so much, Adika, for coming around. I'm just trying to see. Let me throw some questions to my guys. If you had to choose between fencing, rugby, and F1, you just said one of the safest.
I'll go for fencing.
You go for fencing.
I'll go for fencing.
Good choice.
I think I'll go for Formula 1.
I think I'll go for speed.
I love speed.
The moment you are holding a weapon, you just want to do something there.
In case of fencing, my destiny is in my own hands.
Exactly.
In rugby, someone can break my neck. Formula 1, I can collide with someone.
Exactly.
See what you did to my guys. All righty. Thank you so much. We're glad we're having fun. Even when we're talking about fencing. And that's what we need to do. We need to develop all these other sports that
and make sure that by the time the next Africa Games comes up, we are participating
and reduce the advantage our rivals have as much as possible.
So we guess we'll have to end it at that. It's been so much fun speaking, talking sports like we always do right here on Sports This Morning on your award-winning station, Channels Television. Definitely we'll be here again, same time tomorrow, to do it all over again, like I always say. So please keep a day with us. I'm yours truly, Ayotunde Balogun.
A very big thank you to you for staying tuned, and we always appreciate it. We'll do this again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo.
I'm Austin Okonakpan. Did you see the charge that Chinazom Amadi showed to win gold at the African Games in long jump? That's the sort of charge we want you to, keep up in life and keep winning. On behalf of the team, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, keep talking sports. Bye for now.